Alrighty then, welcome back everybody, welcome back to the drawing. And today I will actually get this grass up and running and then get the skeleton into the mix. So no further ado, let's get started and hopefully get to where I want to be with this. So today is actually a pretty good day, mainly because they're actually the how do you say that? The community? No, not the community. This is gonna be difficult. So you have the country, then you have the states, then you have the government, and then you have the town. The town itself, yeah, probably town. No, not the town. The government itself. So the states. That's the word that I'm looking for. Then probably right. So yeah, the states actually ordered to cut some of the old trees back. Well, that were rotten from the core in. So now they're actually calling in removal teams around my town to remove the big giant things because, well, that's important to do. And I realize I am not yet ready for doing that. I need to add some more detail work, it seems. Yeah, I do. I knew that I missed something. So let's add that missing factor in there. So what I need to do here is add. Can I add line? Yeah, I can add in certain parts. I can actually add them in. And I should, and then after that I need to add in the effect, which is striping. Now, I hope that this works. I doubt it, but it should not harm the rest of it all, because, well, I have done it on layers, so it should not hurt that much. But yeah, I need to fill up the environment afterwards. So first draw the big lines and then add the single lines to it as well to create the effect that I need. There we go. And now I can actually add in the next bit of the step, which is adding the dog. There we go. And then we're gonna go here. Some more stripes there. And then we can actually add some more work here. There we go. So much work here. So little bits here and there that I need to draw in. The gritty effect of grass. Yep. And then over here. There we go. Then we're gonna go up. And once this is done, I can then actually finally start with the rest of it all. And then I need to color up the bits here and there, and then afterwards I need to add in the skeleton, which is gonna be on top of this, most likely, and then get towards the rest of it. But ugh, so much work. Just drawing in the texture alone takes always such a time. But then again, it does create a nice look to it. There we go. With that said, I can now actually go to here. Yep, that looks nice. But yeah, this always takes a long time to get right. Yes, that works. And then we can now move upwards. And filling up this bit. This, by the way, is the most intensive thing that you need to do. And that makes your hand absolutely hate you, but then again. This is why you always need to take breaks from such things, but we're almost 10 minutes in and we are almost done with it, so I'm happy with it. That it's almost done. But you can also clearly see that it actually improves the texture itself. Well, it improves the image itself while adding the texture in there. Of course, it makes things a little bit more difficult sometimes, but then again, most things do. There we go. Here we go, and now we're gonna go back here and fix up the things that I need to fix. Which is the coloring, of course. Nothing more than that. Alright. save just in case. So we actually have what I need. Now I can get this bit done there, that bit done there, that bit done there. Once all of this is done, I can actually then start drawing the big giant skeleton inside of it. And hopefully get to where I want to be with this. Oh yeah, I also need to do the darker color here as well. It's always a lot of work. There we go. Oh, missed on that one. There we go. All right, almost there, and then I can actually then grab the darker color to create the depth inside of the grass itself in a far more accurate way. Am I doing it on the right layer? Yes, I am. Good. Don't want to do this on the fucking texture layer that I just made. So yeah. All right. Now that we're done there, that looks already a lot better than before. Now we need to just grab that dark color that I left behind somewhere here. There you go. And I need to make sure that I do that right. I need to do this on that layer. There you go. And I see that I made a mistake here. So let's fill that in. There you go. So what this does is create the effect that is actually, where is it? Grassland photo. Let's just go for a photo of grassland. And here it is. So, what it does create is actually create this kind of feeling that you have when you look at a grassland. You have this shading effect that's put inside of it. So when you create that effect, you actually get the big giant grass over here with a light effect on it, which doesn't happen most of the time, and I doubt it actually is recording properly. Oh dear. Don't tell me it is. No, it is, but it should be. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah. So when you have this light, you have also a darker effect, and when we look at this, you can see that it is already giving that kind of feeling towards it. It gives a kind of shade that is pretty nice to have, because the shading parts, creating some kind of a shade inside of the grass effect does highlight and create new depths inside of the drawing, which is important sometimes, not gonna lie. Like for instance, I can do this, and then you can see that yes, this is now a lot more better than before. It's not extreme, but then again, it doesn't need to be extreme. It needs to be just there to give the feeling of depth. Like I can make this bit here a lot more better looking by giving it a little bit of shade, because then it has that effect where it goes upwards. So it has that silly effect like that. It's not extremely, it's not the best, but it does give what I want it to be. And I think I used that effect in the in one of the works I made for the competition on Pixiv, I believe. Hold up. Can I just load it up? Probably I can load it up, right? Because it is in digital drawings and then it's in the contest. And then where is it? This one, right? Yeah, that one. That one. So it created that kind of feeling, you know. It's much more better now, but I had it before, and now it's a lot more better than before. So it's less aggressive, no, and it creates a better depth. Mainly because I'm using a not that distinct color difference, but yeah, I'm using a little bit of a darker color to create the shadow necessary to give the feeling of, well, you know, grass basically. And that makes things a lot more cooler to look at, because we can just do this and voila, we have grass. We have cool looking grass everywhere. And once I'm done here, or once I'm done with the skeleton, we are gonna be returning to this one to fill up the next bit. So then we need to fill up this bit, but I doubt that that's necessary for now. All right. Let me just make a cut here though. Oh, let me just make a cut here. There you go. And that looks now a lot more better. Alright, now that we have done that, we now need to implement the skeleton onto it. So we need to have that skeleton there. We need to make sure that we have this into a group. So let's go make sure that that is all into a one group. And now we need to make that skeleton happening. So, well, that's gonna be on top of this, and it's gonna be here. So with this skeleton, I actually wanted to reuse some assets that I made beforehand. Well, not beforehand, but made this year still? Yeah, this year, if I'm correct. So let me just grab that and grab this. So as you can see, there is a big giant, well, monster in the background there, skeleton. And that kind of feeling do I want to continue to use. So I want to technically make this bit. So I want to make, first we're gonna make that eye. So now we have that. Of course, this big giant skeleton doesn't look very spooky or scary right now. And I need to make sure that I do this right. So I need to make sure that I have that mouthpiece like so clicked in. There. Got him. Alright, so now we have done that part. We have done that part. Now we need to make sure that we have that nice looking mouthpiece done properly. So let's do that. There you go. And with that, of course, we're going to be adding in the nose. So we'll add in the nose. So now we have the nose. So we have a big giant eye socket. I can technically make this like so. Ooh, that is actually pretty cool. Let's make the eye socket a little bit more deeper. After all, a skeleton does need its brains a bit. So now we have done that. We actually have now the skull done. I'm going to be adding some detail work here because, well, clearly I need to do that. So with that, we can add some detail work. First things first, we need to make sure that we have those nice looking mouthpieces a little bit more hooked in. Let's say the least. So we need to have it a little bit more hooked in. There you go. And then after that, I think I know exactly how to do this. Don't want it to be on that side and then just go like that. Does not look nice. Alright, and this is why. Well, let's first add then the scarf marks here. Like that, right? This one can actually be removed. Alright, so now we have done that. It means that we now need to make sure that we actually have... Yeah. Like that. Then we need to add in a new bit of design. I need this to be on 8 for that. And then on the other side, yeah. There we go. Now we've done that. Let's see. No. That doesn't make any sense. Alright, so I want to have that one. Alright. Now for the moment of truth. Oh, I do not want to go for 8. If I want to go that. There we go. Eh, looks pretty decent. Let's see. There we go. Ugh, my head. Alright, so now we have the hat. Now, let's see if we can get that hat up and running properly. So first things first, we need to make sure that we have the gray zone. So how many colors do I want to go for? Probably pretty much. I think I want to go for a little bit lighter color. Yeah, I think that is a smarter choice. Alright. There we go. All right. Now that we're set in stone there, we'll now pick up the color that I need for this one. And see how that goes. All right. Now that we're done with that part, I now can add the darker color to it. No, that's not the color I'm looking for. I'm looking for this color instead. Mainly because of how much problems it gives if I don't do it like that. Let's see, what kind of color do I want to give this? Probably red, right? Like that. And then I'm gonna add that and that and that and that. Let me just double check this. Ah, spotted some issues. I definitely need to add a transparency mask here. Mainly because of that, because I want to move it there. I'll get that done. There we go. And then we're gonna be making sure that we have a blend in. Then we're gonna make sure that part also has it. And then after this, I need to make sure that I have the. I need to make sure that once I have done this, I also need to make sure that all the coloring parts are correct. Alright, then we need to make sure that all the All the stuff is done here. And we now need to switch this color up to a darker color, so let's do that. This needs to be even darker. Alright. Now that we've done that, now we need to make sure that this bit is gonna be in a transparency mask. There we go. Now that we've done that part, I can now actually add in the next bit. Which is then the eye. I will put that there. see. If I do this. Now the question is, do I want to add a line work there? Ugh. And that fire needs to be closer than I think, because then eye needs to be looking at it. Hmm. Alright, let's go around that. Yep, that works. That's better. Easy. Alright, so now... Don't fucking die here on me. Alright, so now we actually have the skull done. My hands are absolutely tired from this, but... But, yeah, so we have now done the skull itself. Although, I think I need to fix the spotting on the teeth. So, not that one, not that one. This one? No, that one, yes. So let's do that. Let's fix the spotting and then call it a day, because we actually did a lot. We actually fixed this bit. So what we actually fixed was this bottom part. So we did that, and now we actually are almost finished with that part as well. So let's fix that spotting. So I think I will go not for 8 but for 5 instead. And let's redo that, because we actually have this, which is good, but it's missing something. So either I want to go for scarf marks like so. And that would actually also work pretty well here. But then that part won't then work. How about... No, that's just smirch. That's terrible. So yeah, I need to make this happen. Yep, there you go. Because technically I need to add here, I need to add like, if I really want to do this, I need to add interlocking jaws in there, but that is terrible. That is a terrible idea. So let's go for an underbite rather than a top bite. While we're doing that though, I need to make sure one thing is cleared out. So these ones are too small. So these ones are too small. But too big is also terrible. And then because of that, I need to then also switch around some of the coloring, because this bit needs to have a lighter version on, well, a darker version actually, on the top part here. Does that work, or is that not negotiable? Let's see. So if we have that, I want to technically make this a little bit more like that. How about that? Yes, but then I need to make sure that I have this. No. And this needs to be like that, but instead. Ugh. And then I can actually technically pull this out if I want to, but it's always a difficulty. But alright, let's see. So if I want to make this happening, I can technically make this happening by putting those there. But no, we're gonna keep it like this. Alright, I will leave it here for now, and I think that is it for now. My hand is... hold up, buddy. My hand is a little bit tired for now. So tomorrow I will probably work on getting the rest of the skeleton done. So we'll put the rest of the skeleton inside of it. So we actually have a full skeleton working. So here is going to be a skeleton all around. And then after that, I need to add some rocks here in front, and then we can actually move to the next bit, which is actually the cave bit here. And then we can actually move to making more grass as well. And then I need to add some stuff over here as well. So that's going to be fun, but first let's focus on the main thing. So yeah. Alright. I hope you'll enjoyed for now, and thanks all for watching, and I hope we'll see you next time. Until then, I want to wish you a lovely day, and yeah. This was a good progress. Although I can definitely feel it in my hands. That drawing that much texture on the grass was a little bit too much for my comfort zone. But then again, it had to be done. It is one of the things that you need to do anyway. So yeah. All right. I'll hope we'll see you next time, and bye.